Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a yoga video for you where we'll be focusing on the back, keeping the back strong, flexible and healthy. So just before we begin, I would like to maybe give you a little tip or a piece of advice or a disclaimer and say that if you're working on one type of back bend and you see no progress, the reason might be is that you're focusing mainly on your back. But of course, in our body, everything is connected. So if you're working on a back bend, let's say just a very simple bending back, so arching your back. Your back is not the only thing that you need to focus on. You also need to focus on your chest, because as you're bending there, you're lengthening and expanding here. Same thing if you go from here. Now you're including not only your chest, but also your hip flexors, your quads. If you were to add your arms going over the head, again, it's not just the back bending, it's also your shoulders opening. So there are many things to consider, and in this video we'll be working a little bit on everything, but keeping the back healthy will be our main focus. And talking about that, if you feel any pain when in the sequence, make sure you don't try to endure it. Instead, just back off a little bit and maybe re-enter the pose later. Maybe just keep it all together. Also, try to stay engaged in the pose and go just as deep as you can without causing any pain. So pain is actually not a bad thing, it's a good thing. It's our body being smart and sophisticated, telling us that something is wrong. Hey, can you just review what's going on? So let's do that if you feel pain. Okay, so let's begin on our backs. So simply lie down, place your head down, have your feet on the mat, quite close to your hips. And then drop your knees inwards so they're resting one towards another. Have your palms facing up to start with. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Open your mouth and sigh it out. You can close your eyes if you want. And just start noticing your breath. Let every inhale lift your belly and fill your lungs to the very, very fullest. And exhale through the nose, emptying your lungs completely. Take a couple of deep breaths. And now if your eyes are closed, slowly open them. Separate your knees so you have them just above the ankles and turn your palms to face down, keeping the arms just by the sides of the body. Take a deep breath in and tuck your tailbone underneath. So it's kind of flattening that arch in your lower back, tucking the tailbone underneath, sucking the belly button in. Now continue breathing as you push your feet down, squeezing your glutes, lifting the hips up. Move very, very slowly. So you're starting to lift from the hips, from the very, very bottom of your spine, so the tailbone, then keep lifting, keep going up to the very, very top. Try to keep your knees not wider than hip distance apart. So we're focusing just on the back, moving just from your spine. And then exhale, roll the spine down, going from the top to the bottom of the spine very, very slowly. Try to almost kind of touch one vertebra at a time to your mat. And then again, tuck the tailbone, lift the hips, going slowly. And slowly lower down. We will do this one more time. So inhale to push into the feet, squeezing your glutes, vertebra at that time, lifting, keeping your knees in line with the hips, and then really pushing the hips up once you're at the top, opening that chest. And then from the top of the spine, so your upper back, your middle back lowers down, and just then your lower back and the tip of your spine. And now you can send the arms to the sides of the room or of your garden. If you're in the garden like me, you can also have your elbows bent if you don't have enough space. And very gently just rock your knees from one side to another. So they don't need to lower to the very, very ground and touch it. Move just as much as it feels good. So kind of releasing your lower back, warming it a little bit, introducing some spinal twist. And then stop in the center, bend the knees to the chest and hug them. Round the spine, squeezing the whole body, lift the head, touch it to the knees. And then exhale, lower down. Start rocking forward and back, forward and back. And then you have two options. One is simply rocking up, swinging your legs around, coming into tabletop. Another one is from your back, simply rolling to the side and lifting up. In the tabletop position, have your wrists just underneath your knees. Have your knees just underneath your hips. Both your hands and your knees are shoulder distance apart and hip distance apart. And now as you inhale, drop the chest down without bending your elbows. Move it to the right, move it back up and to the left. Again, drop it down to the right, up and the left. Try to move from your chest, not the hips. So kind of drawing circles in the air with your chest here. Moving with your breath. Inhale to one side and lift. Exhale to another and lower down. And now change the direction. So just move to the other side. Keeping your elbows straight as you can. Looking down in between your hands, perhaps towards the mat, so your neck is long. And now as you move, try to add the hips to the movement. So the chest is moving to one side, the hips are moving to the opposite. And then switch. So really warming up that back, your spine. And then change direction again. So chest moves to one side, your hips move to another. And then stop in the center. We will take a couple of side bends. So move your right hip towards your right shoulder and the right shoulder towards the right hip. Kind of just bending back. And then change sides. Keep moving. Squeezing one side while lengthening another. Keeping your elbows straight. So the movement is coming just from your torso, not your elbows. And then stop in the center. Looking down in between your hands, inhale to stretch your right leg behind you. With the next breath in, with the next breath in, stretch your left arm forward. So try to keep your arm and your right leg in one line with the body, so they don't need to go very high. Just keep stretching forward and back, keeping your lower back flat. So for now, we're not bending, we're not arching here at all. Keep actively stretching, engaging that back, pushing down through your right hand. And then exhale, put your hand, your knee down. We will go to the other side. So inhale to stretch your left leg behind you, pointing your toes back. Inhale to stretch your right arm forward, engaging your abs, suck the belly button in, keeping the back as flat as you can, and really stretching to the opposite sides. Just a couple of more deep breaths. And then exhale down. Good. Wiggle around if you need to release a little bit. And now let's stay in tabletop. Lift your right leg off the mat, keep it bent. Lift the knee as high as you can, and then open the chest forward, rolling the shoulders down the back. Now we're arching the back. So the knee goes high as you can. The head lifts as much as you can. As you exhale, send the knee underneath your body. Try to touch the forehead to the knee, or just kind of find that rounding of the back, lifting the chest, lifting the knee into the chest. And then again, inhale to open, keeping the elbows straight. Exhale to round. Really pushing your hands down, rounding that back. Inhale up and exhale down. Change sides. The right knee goes down. As you inhale, lift the left one up, drop your belly, lift the chest, and exhale, round. Inhale to lift, and exhale to round. One more time, inhale, and exhale. Good. Place the knee back down. Remove the hair from your mat. Just kidding. Lower the chest down. So basically just come lying down on your belly. Have your hands underneath the shoulders. Roll the shoulders down the back. You can have your legs separated if that feels better for you. Just don't go too wide. Have them just as wide as your hips or as wide as the mat. Or you can have them together as well if it feels better for you. Now take a deep breath in, start lifting your torso up, but we will start from the bottom of the spine. So your head is looking down. Inhale, round your upper spine, then go to the middle spine, then your upper back. Finally lifting the chest, lifting the head, keeping the elbows close to the body at all times so they're not flaring out. And also don't worry about lifting all the way up. You can lift just up to here or here, as long as you find that movement in the spine. And this is exactly what we want to do. We want to go just vertebra at a time, kind of waving the spine. Okay, and then as you exhale, lower down. Again, inhale from the bottom of the spine, slowly rounding it up, then rolling the shoulders back, lifting the head. Exhale, keeping the spine long and lengthening it, lower down. Inhale up. And exhale to lengthen down. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale to lower. And 1 more time. Inhale up. And exhale down. Send your arms back. Roll the shoulders down the back. Squeeze your glutes. Push the tops of the feet down. Inhale to lift the chest up. Lifting as high as you can. For 5, 4, squeezing the back of the body. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, lower down. Place the hands underneath the body. Push into the hands, lifting the chest, the hips. Take child's pose. So spread your knees wide on the mat. Have your big toes touching or close together. Sit down on your heels. And then slide your hands forward, lengthening the back. Keep your hips heavy. The forehead can relax on the mat. And now as you inhale, again keep the elbows kind of close to the body as you slide your chest low through the mat, moving forward, straightening the legs. Inhale to lift the chest. Exhale to lower down. Send your arms back. Take a deep breath in, squeeze the back of the body, including your glutes. Push the tops of the feet down and lift up. So try to keep your palms facing one another and your arms more or less parallel one to another. Actively squeezing, lifting up. Keep lifting. Exhale down. Place the hands down, child's pose. Knees wide, big toes close together. Hips down, hands forward, forehead to the mat. If your forehead is hovering, that's fine, but if it feels uncomfortable for your neck, then you can simply place something underneath, just to rest it on top. Inhale, slide the chest forward. Keep it low, just sliding through the mat. Straighten the legs. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower down. Send the arms back for the last time. Squeeze the back of the body. Inhale, lift. Keep lifting. Imagine someone is holding your hands, pulling them back. Two more breaths. Push the tops of the feet down. And exhale down. Place the hands down, child's pose. So try to keep your hips as low as you can on your heels. Let the weight of your hips pull your spine back and down while your hands are walking forward, stretching the spine forward. And now inhale, lift the chest. Come onto all fours again, tabletop, just as we did in the beginning. From your tabletop, walk your hands forward. Keep the hips above the knees, so don't move them together with your hands or don't push them back. And now walk your hands a little bit out as well, so they move forward and out. Suck your belly button in, so towards the spine, kind of tucking your tailbone underneath. And from here, sink your chest down, so maybe your arms will move forward, your hands will move forward even more. Your forehead can relax down. And because you're not arching your back here, so you're not doing this, you're keeping that tailbone tucked underneath the body. You should be feeling a stretch at the top of your back, your shoulders. Try to keep your forearms lifted off the mat. And now, if you wish, you can kind of release your abs. So drop that belly button down, arching the back, keeping the hips lifted. Coming into another variation of a puppy pose. So you can whether have your forehead on the mat or you can place your chin down. Try to keep your forearms lifted off the mat, so they're kind of engaged and slightly lifted, or you can even come up onto your fingertips and do that. Lifting the wrists off the mat. Stay here just as long as it feels good. If at some point it's too much, just come out of the pose. And now we will all slowly come out. Move your hips back. Let's take another child's pose. So have the big toes closer together, the knees wider apart. This time have your arms by the sides of the body. Lower the forehead down. So as you have your arms by the sides of the body, your shoulders are completely relaxed. Gravity is just dragging them down towards the mat. Releasing all that tension. And it should be especially nice after a puppy pose, after all that opening in the shoulders and your upper back. And now let's lift back up. Lower down on your belly again. Bend your right arm at 90-degree angle. Have your elbow in line with the shoulder, and from here maybe move it up just a tiny bit. Place your right ear down on the mat, just like so. Your left hand, by the way, is on the mat, just in line with the shoulder. And now as you inhale, bend your left knee and slowly start pushing into your left hand, rolling onto the right side of the mat, sending that left leg behind you. So you should be feeling a stretch throughout your pec muscle on the right side, so the top right side of the chest. You might also be feeling it in your bicep. And it's a very nice spinal twist as well. Just a couple of more breaths. Don't worry about your left leg here too much. So we're using it just for weight, sending it behind us to help us twist and roll onto the right side of the body. And now slowly come back to your belly. Bend the left elbow. Again, maybe move your hand, your arm just a little bit up. Place the left ear down. Your left hand just outside your left shoulder. Bend the right knee and then gently roll onto the left side of the body. Your right leg, might be hovering. Or maybe your foot is touching the ground. Maybe the leg is fully bent or slightly straighter. It doesn't really matter again. We're just focusing on the top of the body now. And then slowly come back. Place your hands down. Push into them, lifting the chest, lifting the hips, tuck the toes, move into your downward facing dog. So you can bend the knees and alternate the heels here, stretching your hamstrings, warming them up. We didn't stretch them just yet. We kind of worked on strengthening the back of the body, including the legs and all those back bends, but we didn't stretch them, so this might feel good. And then just find stillness, so keeping your fingers spread wide, push the hands down, lengthen your arms and the sides of the body, lengthen your spine as much as you can, so you're actively trying to add length to it, lifting the tailbone up and pushing it back. Your knees can be bent here. And now, in fact, let's take a deep breath in and bend the knees, keeping the hips where they are, but placing the belly down on the thighs. Not necessarily touching, just moving it towards that direction. And then exhale to straighten the knees, just as much as they straighten. Again, inhale to bend, keeping the hips high. Exhale to straighten. One more time, inhale. And exhale to straighten. Now as you inhale, bend the right knee and move it to the front of the mat. Step the right foot down in between your hands. Lower your left knee down and tuck the toes. Come into Ashwasanchalanasana. So your low lunge. Try to keep your hips square, so you can even place your hand on your sacrum. So just above your butt crack. And check if it's flat. So you can try to kind of push your right hip forward and then push it back, and notice how your lower back moves. You can feel it with your hand. So try to keep it flat. In this case, you're kind of trying to push your right hip slightly back and your left one forward. And then your fingertips are on the ground, your hips are sinking down, your chest is lifting. Now focus on your left foot and push the top of it down to the mat, sinking your left hip even lower, feeling the stretch throughout your hip flexors. And now with the next breath in, you can choose to lift your chest up. So moving just your torso, not the hips. The hips didn't lift, the hips stay where they are. They're staying square. Your arms can just stretch down by the sides of the body. Now with the next breath in, stretch your arms up. Maybe even take a back bend, so arching your back, lift the chest, and maybe lift the head. Maybe start sending your arms behind you. And then come back up. Exhale, place your hands down, tuck your left toes, step into downward facing dog. And with the next inhale, bend the left knee, send it to the chest, step the foot down, place your right knee down, untuck the toes, find Ashwasana. On this side. So again, you can place your hand just on your sacrum, finding that squaring of the hips, then finding length in your spine, rolling the shoulders down the back, lifting the chest up. Push the top of your right foot down and push your right thigh down, feeling a stretch through your hip flexors. And now maybe with inhale, you can lift up. Again, moving just the chest, just your torso. Maybe you can even stretch the arms up, so you're just adding weight to your lunge here. And maybe you can bend back. So when you bend back, don't think about simply dropping back. Think about lifting the chest first. So before you bend, you want to lengthen. Lifting the chest up, kind of going diagonally up, and then bending back. It's almost like you have a barrel behind your back and you're trying to roll over it. So deep breath in to lengthen and exhale to bend. Come back up, exhale down, tuck your back toes, step into downward facing dog. And then send your body forward, lower it down. Now bend the knees and grab your ankles or your feet, whatever you can reach. You can also use a strap and simply wrap a strap around your feet and hold it in your hands, or it can be a belt or whatever. Try to keep your knees hip distance apart. Roll the shoulders down the back. Squeeze your glutes. Inhale, lift just the knees. So just the knees are lifting off the mat. Try to kind of understand how you're feeling here. Engaging the back of the body, opening the chest. Now as you inhale, lift the chest. Start pushing your feet back, lifting the chest, lifting the knees off the mat. And then exhale down. Place the hands down, push into child's pose. Inhale to lift the head, spread the fingers widely on the mat, lift the hips, tuck the toes, take a downward facing dog. And from here, start walking forward towards the front of the mat. And simply come into ragdoll. So your knees can be bent, your head is completely relaxed down. You can grab your opposite elbows, or you can simply dangle your hands down. Now if relaxing your head down doesn't feel good, you can keep it lifted. You can even place your elbows just above the knees. So kind of rounding your spine down here. Just creating space. And now check if you can slightly straighten your knees. So just as much as it feels comfortable for you, when you lengthen the back, flatten it. So maybe the knees will be slightly bent in order to keep the back flat, and that's fine, but try to keep them at the straightest with this condition. Now place your left hand on your right ankle. Try to keep your knees in line as you inhale and twist to the right side, sending the right arm up. So don't let your left knee go out and your hips twist. Exhale, lower that right hand on your left ankle. Inhale, twist to the left. Knees in line. Exhale, change. Inhale, up. Exhale, change. Inhale, up. And exhale, lower down. Now have your feet a little bit closer together. Bend the knees, tuck the tailbone underneath. Inhale, stretch your arms up, coming into Utkatasana. So you're looking for that squeeze in between your thighs, squeezing them together, keeping your lower back as flat as you can. So try to avoid arching, sucking the belly button in. Arms are stretching up, or they can also be just in front of the chest. Another deep breath in, and then exhale, start bending the knees, lowering the hips down. Back arch will happen here, that's fine. And then simply sit down. Straighten your legs in front of you. Coming into Dandasana. So flex your ankles, toes pointing towards the body or up to the sky. Roll the shoulders down the back. Your hands can be outside the hips to support you, especially if you feel like you're dropping back a little bit. Or you can also sit on something, so it can be a cushion or a block or a book, just to find that lift in the spine. Let's take a couple of deep breaths in Dandasana. Maybe lowering your chin down just a little bit. And now let's place the hands outside the hips if they're not there or not there anymore. And we'll start walking the hands forward. So if you felt that you're already dropping back here, then bend the knees slightly. If you're fine, keep them straight. So let's say the knees are bent, walking forward and kind of rounding your spine now. So don't worry about keeping the back flat. We're again extending the spine, adding length. So maybe eventually lowering your forehead on top of the knees. Same if your legs are straight, so you're just walking forward, and don't try to actively pull yourself down. Just kind of round the spine here. Maybe let your head dangle. Now, if you're feeling something in your lower back and it's unpleasant, if it's pain, then definitely you don't want to go through this. You don't want to suffer that. So just step back a little bit and notice if it helps, if you feel better. And play with engagement in your body. So maybe kind of straightening the back just a little bit, checking if it helps, coming back up, checking if it helps, lowering down again with the back flatter, checking if it helps, maybe relaxing completely, just kind of play with different variations. But if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. And then walk yourself up. Bend the knees, lower down on your back, and we will go into Savasana. So you can actually have your knees bent and take a variation of Savasana, just as we did in the beginning, dropping them one towards another, having your palms facing up. This is especially nice if you have something going on in your lower back. So it kind of helps to flatten it, tucking the tailbone underneath, flattening your lower spine. If you want to take the original Shavasana, have your legs straight, relaxing them completely, maybe dropping the toes out. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth and side out. Try to relax every single muscle in your body. And stay here as long as you want, especially if you have time. It can feel nice just to be with yourself in silence. Whenever you will be ready to come out, start wiggling your fingers and your toes, slowly just bringing more movement into your body. Then you will eventually roll onto one side of the body and push yourself up to a seated position. Choose any comfortable position, grounding down through the sits bones, keeping your chest broad, your shoulders relaxed. Place your hands together in front of the chest. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Open your mouth and side out. Then lift your hands up to your forehead and gently bow down. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any feedback, please leave a comment below. If you have any question as well, if you have requests for our next video, if you give this a thumb up, I will really appreciate that. Also subscribe if you haven't yet. I will be uploading more videos, and again, it depends on you what you want, so just give me a shout and I'll see you next time. Bye.